Look around you. In the boardroom, in the halls of power, even in your own social circles. Have you ever noticed that the ones who seem to get ahead, the ones who always win, often have a certain ruthlessness about them? They climb the ladder with uncanny speed, leaving a trail of bewildered colleagues and broken promises in their wake. We're taught that good guys finish first, that karma will sort things out. But what if that's a lie? What if the game is rigged, and the rulebook was written by the very people we call evil? Today, we're diving deep into the shadows, into the psychology of power, to answer a disturbing question. Why do evil people so often win? And more importantly, what can we learn from their playbook without losing our souls? This isn't about becoming a monster. It's about understanding the monster, so you're never its victim again. The secret to their success can be summed up in 3 words: the Dark Triad. This isn't a villainous group from a comic book. It's a terrifyingly real psychological concept that describes 3 distinct but related personality traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Together, they form a potent cocktail of ambition, manipulation, and cold-heartedness that gives individuals a powerful, often unseen, advantative world. Let's break them down. First, there's narcissism. We often think of narcissists as people who just love themselves a little too much, constantly posting selfies and seeking admiration. But clinical narcissism goes much deeper. It's about an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep-seated need for excessive attention and admiration, and a startling lack of empathy for others. In a corporate setting, the narcissist is the charismatic leader who takes credit for everyone else's work. They can charm their way into promotions, delivering confident presentations about projects they barely touched. Their grandiosity is mistaken for vision, and their confidence for competence. They see other people not as human beings with feelings, but as props in the movie of their own life tools, to be used and discarded once their purpose is served. Their fragile ego, however, means they will viciously attack anyone who questions their perceived greatness, making them dangerous office politicians. Next up is Machiavellianism. Named after Niccolò Machiavelli, the Renaissance political philosopher who famously wrote The Prince. This trait is the art of strategic deception. A person high in Machiavellianism is a master manipulator. They are cynical, believing that people are fundamentally selfish and gullible. They view morality as a flexible concept, something to be bent or broken in the pursuit of their goals. They are the puppet masters, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. In politics, they might leak a fabricated scandal about a rival right before an election. In a relationship, they might use gaslighting and emotional manipulation to maintain control. They are patient, calculating, and they play the long game. Unlike the hot-headed narcissist, the Machiavel is cool and detached. They don't need the spotlight. They just need to win. They create complex webs of alliances and betrayals, always ensuring they come out on top, convincing everyone it was for the greater good while lining their own pockets. Finally, we arrive at the most chilling of the 3, psychopathy. This trait is defined by a profound lack of empathy and remorse, combined with impulsivity and antisocial behavior. While we might picture a crazed axe-wielding killer from a horror film, most psychopaths aren't in prison. They're in our boardrooms and our governments. These are the individuals who can fire an entire department without losing a wink of sleep, then go home and enjoy a nice dinner. They feel no guilt, no shame, no pity. This emotional detachment gives them a huge psychological edge. While a normal person would be paralyzed by the emotional fallout of a difficult decision, a psychopath simply makes the most logical, self-serving choice. They are fearless, which can be mistaken for courage and decisiveness. They can lie with a straight face, mimic emotions they don't feel, and exploit others' kindness without a second thought. They are predators in human clothing, and our society, which rewards risk-taking and emotional resilience, often unwittingly rolls out the red carpet for them. So how do these traits manifest in the real world? It's often subtle. A narcissist's charm offensive wins over the new boss. A Machiavellian's well-placed rumor derails a competitor's project. A psychopath's cold-blooded decision to lay off 1,000 workers to boost stock prices is hailed as bold leadership. These individuals thrive because our systems often reward the very behaviors that define the Dark Triad. We praise confidence, strategic thinking, and the ability to make tough, unemotional decisions. We see a powerful CEO and call them a visionary, not a psychopath. We see a cunning politician and call them savvy, not a Machiavel. We see a magnetic celebrity and call them charismatic, not a narcissist. Here's the biggest twist. The world doesn't just tolerate this darkness. It often rewards darkness when it's disguised as virtue. The Machiavel who orchestrates a corporate takeover frames it as creating shareholder value. The narcissist who craves power runs for office on a platform of serving the people. The psychopath who feels nothing can perfectly mimic the language of compassion and social justice to gain trust and influence. They have learned to wear the mask of a good person. They've studied us. They know what we want to hear, words like authenticity, empathy, and integrity, and they repeat them back to us while acting in complete opposition to them. This is why we are so often fooled. We are looking for overt, cartoonish evil, but real-world darkness is sophisticated. It cloaks itself in light. It uses our own morality and desire for a better world against us. So faced with this bleak reality, what are we supposed to do? Surrender? Become just as ruthless? No. The answer isn't to become evil, but to understand the tools of darkness so we can defend against them and, when necessary, use them ethically. This is a concept known as shadow integration, famously discussed by psychologist Carl Jung. It means acknowledging and understanding the darker parts of our own nature, the potential for selfishness, manipulation, and ambition instead of pretending they don't exist. Let's be clear, this is not an excuse to become a jerk. It's about developing what you might call controlled darkness or strategic ethics. For example, instead of a narcissist's need for validation, you can cultivate unshakable self-confidence based on actual competence. You don't need external praise when you know your own worth. Instead of a Machiavel's manipulative schemes, you can learn the art of strategic influence and persuasion to rally people around a genuinely positive cause. You can understand power dynamics not to exploit them, but to navigate them and protect your team. Instead of a psychopath's cold detachment, you can practice emotional regulation. This means you can make a tough but necessary decision without being overwhelmed by emotion, but you still retain your empathy and consider the human cost. It's the difference between a surgeon who is calm and focused during a complex operation and a killer who feels nothing. Both are detached in the moment, but their underlying intent and humanity are worlds apart. Weaponizing your shadow means setting firm boundaries. It means learning to say no. It means recognizing when someone is trying to manipulate you and calling it out. It means being willing to be disliked for making the right decision. Good people often lose because they are too afraid of conflict, too eager to please, and too naive about the intentions of others. Integrating your shadow gives you the strength to be kind, but not weak, to be empathetic, but not a doormat. You learn to play chess while others are playing checkers, but you're playing for a cause greater than just your own ego. This is the ultimate secret. The most powerful people in the world are not the purely good or the purely evil. They are the ones who understand the full spectrum of human nature, including its darkest corners, and have learned to master it. They have the charisma of the narcissist but use it to inspire. They have the strategic mind of the Machiavel but use it to build, not destroy. They have the emotional resilience of the psychopath but use it to lead through crisis with a steady hand, guided by a strong moral compass. They don't win because they are evil. They win because they are complete. They have faced their own shadow, and in doing so, they have become truly formidable. So the next time you see someone ruthless getting ahead, don't just despair. Analyze them, understand their tactics, and then look within yourself. Find that controlled darkness, that inner strength you've been taught to suppress. Hone it, control it, and align it with your values. Because in a world where evil so often seems to have the upper hand, the greatest power isn't being a saint. It's being a warrior with a conscience. Thanks so much for watching. This was a heavy topic, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you encountered people like this in your life? Let's talk about it. And if you found this video insightful and want to explore more about the hidden dynamics of psychology and power, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next one.